somebody who got unkile dikia tsa koloi ya hae a robetse pitso mo le mane kaya
He announced.
I don't know how we can handle it because he only had one key and ipakile ka mtlasa thare a ro
Ula ngaphakathi manje. Ungenile uphi?
yeah ungenile khona he's already done my interview.
Comrades, can we please get settled? Riqale ka meeting. Time is not on our side. Ayihlale phansi ibambe umthetho. Ayihlale phansi ibambe umthetho. Yeah, amandla. Viva ANC, viva! Viva ANC, viva! Sanikhathele namanqabane, we still have 2 days. Wathinta abafazi. Yeah, abafazi bakhona la ngaphakathi. Wathinta abafazi. Roar, young lion, roar. Young lions, are you here? Siyabonga, comrades. Comrades, Sithule Pen. We can all sing at the same time, but ngeke sikhulume sonke. Comrades, we are going to change the program a little bit. We are going to tweak it kancane. Right? Delegates must start singing.
How
Asihlaleni phansi ma comrade. Sizothatha umkhabulo. Asihlaleni phansi ma comrade. Comrade Marcus kiyawubona. Comrades. Tulang phe. Icon. Tulani ma comrade. Imani kancane. Ningazoyimosha lento. Niyabona lento eniyenzayo manje. Umakhulu uqeda ukukhuluma ngani kahle. Comrades. Nizoyimosha. Asiculeni ingoma sonke ma comrade iphele ke. Asiculeni sonke. Asiculeni sonke. Ningabiza amagama nizoyimosha. Ningabiza amagama. Please hold your horses. Please hold your horses, comrades. We have a base document to listen to. Order, comrades.
Amandla.
Order, comrades. Order. Amandla. Lekamo. Amandla, comrades. Kyakupela. Retlo fellecha. Emma. Rakupela, my comrades. Retwanti ready base document presentation. Kamurahu Hamori lanchi. Are tuleng, are kwane, my comrade. Retompe tapi. It says disappeared. Mamela. You know, last night, maobane boshigo ke be ke robetse matsogong a mosadi a mollo mong la bona le mametsi bjano So kya khopela hle. Let's allow the base document to come through. Then we go to lunch. After lunch, we give in the reports to account on the work we have done. After those 3 reports, you are free to lobby as much as you want because the Electoral Commission will be taking the stage. Siyazwana ma comrade? Siyazwana? As against the delegate, comrade, Uvondo, asiniki presentation. Uphu Vondo. Sondela xhego. Sondela xhego. Ningasayimoshi. Ningasaculi nizocula sendlini. Thina abanye sinoshukela silambile. Ake nibeni kancane. Vondo, take over.
Comrade, let me acknowledge first the presence of the leadership that arrived when we were on break. We have Comrade PEC members. Matume Chilwane has joined us. We also having amongst us PEC member again, Comrade Vuyo Mhlakaza Manamela. Thank you very much. Over to you, Comrade Vondo.
Amandla, away too. Long live ANC, long live. Forward to a united Johannesburg, forward. Forward to a united Gauteng, forward. Comrade Chair, thank you very much. Program Director, Comrade Nepsi, Agnes Mulwele. Comrades, I want to greet the leadership of the National Executive Committee that is here, and our comrades from the Provincial Executive Committee, the NEC, the PEC deployees led by the convener, Comrade Sputla, Dr. Ramokhupa, our RTT members, fellow delegates. Comrades, we have circulated the document. It's based document. It's ANC Gauteng based document. I want to put a disclaimer. I think all of us, comrades, were aware that this document was not discussed at the PPGMs. This document was only circulated or was agreed by the province in the midst of the PPGMs, comrades. And the nature of the PPGMs we've been running were very long. They had items on organizational, political and financial reports of the branches that they needed to account, but also the nomination of the REC and the PEC candidates. The only item that was in the agenda of the PPGMs, insofar as the political education is concerned, or was the document called the Through the Eye of the Needle, which was supposed to be the input that was to be given by the delegates or the deployees, whether PEC or any REC deployees in those PPGMs, comrades. So this document, comrades, is now available. So I thought it's important that we put that disclaimer, comrades. We have circulated the document. It's a 65-page document. The purpose of this document, comrades, is to ensure that it sparks the debates insofar as what the position of Gauteng is in the context of the challenges that are facing our organization. But also, comrades, will realize that 2 weeks ago, the National Executive Committee released the policy documents 2 weeks ago. And we have prepared, comrades, a pack on those policy documents. And we are going to circulate those policy documents. So from here, after this conference, the RTT has agreed to recommend to this conference that after the conversations here, we'll have to go to the branches and convene the structures to engage and give inputs in terms of this document, comrades. So we're going to try, comrades, and summarize the document that is before us, comrades. What the document does, comrades, it provides a context insofar as our decisions and policy positions are. Because the African National Congress is a creature of the Constitution. And Comrade David Makura, when he was speaking here, he said the conference of the ANC, comrades, cannot just be about election. Because the leadership that you are going to elect here is the leadership that must execute the decisions that are going to come out of this conference. Now, you are not mandated here to come and elect the leadership only. So you are mandated to also think through on what the challenges that are facing our movement can be attended to. But also, how do we ensure that we rebuild the trust that our people have shown that we slowly losing, comrades? So we'll provide that context, comrades. So the document is also, comrades, making a point about our position as the African National Congress insofar as our character is concerned. But it also touches on a number of things. Our relationship with the mass democratic movement structures as a leader of society. It also, comrades, deals with the question that Comrade David Makura raised in his input today, the global environment. If you read the strategy and tactics, which is the theory of our revolution, it talks about the balance of forces, domestically and international. And I think that discussion is also important for the delegates so that we understand where we are at this point in time in the revolution, comrades. And we'll also then refer to what is called a way forward, because Gauteng is proposing a way forward insofar as the document is concerned, because in July there is a policy conference, comrades. So when we go to this policy conference, Gauteng is supposed to have a position that is going to submit to the national conference. And I'm sure, comrades, you'll hear the chair of the province referring to what is called a thought leader in Gauteng. And Gauteng is always presenting its ideas in the national conference or in the national geopolitical landscape of our country, comrades. So as a way of providing that context, comrades, we know that in 2017, the ANC went to its conference and committed itself to strengthening and modernizing the ANC, both as a national liberation movement, but also as a progressive electoral party. And it agreed, comrades, on a number of things in that conference. And I think all of us, we are aware, comrades, that renewal was central in the conversation of the 2017 54th National Conference. And again, comrades, this year, you will also know that when the President delivered the state of, not the State of the Nation address, but the January 8th statement, it delivered the January 8th statement this year in Polokwane. And the NEC made the following commitments insofar as the January 8th statement is concerned. One, the NEC agreed, comrades, that the ANC has to build a social compact to deal decisively with the problems of unemployment and poverty. But it also ensured, comrades, committed to defend our democratic gains against attempts to undermine our constitutional order and destabilize our democracy. It also committed, comrades, to accelerate fundamental renewal and rebuilding of the ANC so that it is a more united, a more effective and trusted agent of our people. To build a capable developmental state, an ethical state with an effective and ethical public service that drives the implementation of South Africa's transformative agenda and continue to work for a better Africa in the better world. And the ANC committed, comrades, in its January 8th statement to restore the integrity and the credibility of the African National Congress and bringing the ANC closer to the people. And I think, comrades, these are marching orders that were given to all the structures of the African National Congress this year, because the January 8th statement is instructive to all of us who are members of the ANC, whether you are at a branch level, whether you are at a sectional level, whether you are at a street level, committee level, whether you are at the PEC level, whether you are at a national level, whether you are a deployee of the ANC, at all echelons of our movement. This is what is called marching orders. And all of us, comrades, in our collective resolve, must ensure that we abide by these commitments and they are executed without fail, comrades. The ANC, comrades, have a responsibility, and I think if you read the character of the ANC or in the Constitution, the ANC has a responsibility, all the members of the ANC have that responsibility to actively and constructively participate in the life of the organization, comrades. So we are here in a conference of the branch delegates. 90% of you are coming from branches, and this is your conference. So you have a responsibility to participate in all the policies that are going to come out of this conference or this conference, comrades, and all other conferences, so that we can build a strong organization in Gauteng, and at least in Johannesburg. Because if we do not do that, comrades, we are not going to build a strong organization with a conference that is not paying attention to the problems that are besieging our movement, or at least worried about the challenges that are facing us as an organization, comrades. As we come to this conference, as we go to the provincial conference, as we come out of our branch general meetings, we also have a responsibility as well to also elect amongst us, comrades, members who possess strong capabilities and leadership qualities, comrades. Those who appeal, and that will go beyond the confines of the ANC membership to include society in general. And I think the chair made that point in the morning, comrades. We ought to ensure that our leadership, comrades, inspires confidence in this regard. We also have a responsibility to ensure, comrades, there's requirement of ensuring that the type of leadership that we elect, comrades, is the leadership that is understand the set of challenges that are facing our province and our region. And Gauteng, comrades, is in that position, in a unique position, to ensure that we understand what the position of Gauteng is. Gauteng is an economic hub of our continent, the 7th largest economy in the continent, or the 4th largest economy in the continent, the industrial services. It's a province of technological hub, not only in South Africa, but throughout the continent, comrades. There are a number of decisions, comrades, that were taken in Gauteng, both in the 13th and the 14th provincial conference, including the 53rd and 54th national conference. So as we come today to this engagement, we should be able to also analyze and assess the set of decisions that we have taken insofar as the organization is concerned, particularly on this question of organizational renewal and unity of our organization, comrades. Because over time, we've been losing the support of the people. I mean, the elections outcome of 2016, 2014, 2016, 2019, and now 2021 is a clear indication that there are certain things that people are concerned about towards our organization, comrades. So we have a responsibility to ensure that we restore the integrity and the credibility of the African National Congress so that we can bring the ANC, comrades, closer to the people as we unite South Africans. There's a phenomenon called the ANC as a leader of society, comrades. And I'm sure you've known that over time, the ANC has earned this dictum that the ANC is a leader of society because of its ideas, because of how it has entrenched its hegemony over society. And people have believed in the ANC. People have believed in the values and the core values of the ANC and the principles of the ANC. And I think the message we're getting with these elections is that we are losing that trust of being a leader of society in this regard, comrades. So I think the base document, comrades, is clarifying that we need to ensure that we work very hard to fix some of the things that are coming out that are a concern, comrades. Since 2019, we have been dealing with a lot of challenges around the country, and of course, with the inception of the COVID-19 pandemic, coupled with social unrest and the economy. And then I think we know the environment that we are facing with, comrades. Many people have lost jobs. Many people have found themselves in the extreme side of poverty. And these are challenges that we need to talk about and resolve. How do we ensure that we deal with these issues, comrades? Gauteng, comrades, has also taken a position, and I think it has an impact in our cities and our municipalities and regions. It has taken a position to elevate the issue of unemployment and inequality. In fact, if you listen to the language of government, they say we're declaring Gauteng in its Lekgotla, comrades, and Comrade Maneli, that the issue of unemployment and inequality is now an emergency. And want to pose it to you, comrades, here, because we are also out of the state power in the municipality. What is this emergency? What does it mean to us in Johannesburg? Because if we don't pay that attention, comrades, we are not likely to restore the confidence of our people, comrades. So we need, in a way, an emergency plan as Johannesburg to contribute to what Gauteng has called the emergency, comrades. The second point, comrades, the document is making, comrades, is about the character of the African National Congress, comrades. And Gauteng is saying we need to consolidate ourselves as this national liberation movement, but also as a political party. And this question is important, comrades. What does it mean to join the ANC today, to an ordinary member of the African National Congress? What does it mean to be a member of the African National Congress today? Because in the past, people who were joining the ANC were joining the ANC to make a contribution, comrades, to the revolution. And they had two things to do. It's either they were going to pay the price of being killed or to be arrested. Today, the conditions are different. And we must be real, comrades. We must be realistic as we engage this question here. What does it mean to be an ANC that is a national liberation movement, but also as the ANC that is a political party? Political party means that we are contesting the elections every election period in the country, comrades. And what does it mean, comrades, to also say, in terms of our character, we know that we are an organization that continue to build a non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, prosperous, and democratic South Africa. We must be able to mobilize. We must be able to organize. We must be able to ensure that we lead and respond to the concerns and the aspirations of our people as we transform the society, comrades, and developing our country and our communities, comrades. As we contest these elections, comrades, we continue to receive the majority votes, whether you look at the city of Johannesburg or you look at the Kuruleni, but these did not translate to us consolidating and winning the power back in this regard. And as such, we are now an opposition party in those municipalities, an opposition in those municipalities, because we did not have enough votes to secure for governing, comrades, in this regard. So how do we use our opposition position that we have in the municipalities of Gauteng? And in Johannesburg, we are there. The caucus of the ANC has 4 PR councillors, with the, of course, 85 ward councillors who are coming from the branches of the ANC. And majority of the wards, in fact, out of 135, and these wards are led by the ANC. So what does it mean, comrades, for the party that is in majority in the communities, insofar as governing is concerned, and how the municipality is responding to those issues? So that is something, comrades, that we should be able to. There's a point, comrades, that the ANC is making, or the document is making, about us organizing and leading the motive forces for change. And the strategy and tactics is very clear. The motives for forces, comrades, are those who stand to benefit from the objectives of the National Democratic Revolution. And those forces are the working class, the poor people, comrades, in this regard. So the ANC must make a point around the multi-class and our own national democratic society, and how we understand the character, this character of being a multi-class struggle, comrades. And over time, comrades, we have represented those who have historically been excluded, comrades. Even when we were not in government during the apartheid period, the ANC has always advanced the interest of the people of South Africa, comrades. And again, on this question, comrades, we also have to ensure that we build capacity to mobilize various stratas so that we can also deal with the issues of gender oppression and the super exploitation of our people, comrades. There's a point that the document is making, comrades, around the ANC and the working class. What is our relationship as the African National Congress, members of COSATU? How do we relate to the working class in this country? What are the challenges that are facing us insofar as our trade movements or our allied forces, the trade movements, and the document is saying we should be able to reflect, comrades, so that we can find a collective responsibility in terms of attending to the problems that are besieging our movement. In 2014, the NUMSA was expelled from COSATU. 400,000 members were expelled in 2014 from COSATU. Yeah, problem so we must not be allergic to content, Comrade Nibs. Yeah, we'll try and summarize, comrades. So the trade movements, comrades, are also faced with challenges. Your FEDUSA, the NAC2, COSATU, now SAFTU. It is important, comrades, that you also reflect on what does it mean for the unions, and there's a call for one trade union movement in the context of that, comrades. So our progressive trade unions, comrades, they require some attention as from the African National Congress in terms of addressing this question of one union, one federation, comrades. And there are a number of questions that are being proposed here, comrades. And I'm sure some of these questions will be taken to the commissions. There's a commission of the base document. Some of these questions, they relate to what does working class leadership mean in the context of democracy and reconstruction. The second question that the document is making, does the working class leadership amount to building houses, paying pensions or grants, or obtaining social wage, or ensuring progressive labor relations, or is it more about that, comrades? Is the working class a subordinate player in the process of development? And I think for me it's a very important question that we need to attend. But also our relationship with the middle strata, comrades. Over time, since 1994, since our democratic breakthrough, the ANC has ensured that the conditions in the country are created for rapid expansion of black professionals and the emergence of the black middle strata. And as we sit today, we understand where we are insofar as the middle strata is concerned. So we should be able to also have that conversation in this conference. And I think the document, comrades, makes a point around the economic transformation strategy that has to deal with a number of things, comrades, including the monopolistic behavior in the private sector that has to be ended. And I think the ANC has to pay attention to that. Black women and youth who are remaining at the receiving end of the challenges of poverty, unemployment, and challenges. So there's also a question that is posed there. The question that is posed by the document, comrades, is the ANC and its alliance, both in the province and in all the regions, organizationally, politically, and ideologically, well placed to lead all these popular classes of our strata for the economic recovery and prosperity and common national identity, comrades? There's a question about the ANC and the national question, and I think the document is clear, comrades, about that, to an extent that we have a progressive constitution in this country, and we subscribe to the notion of a common nationhood with diverse cultural and linguistical backgrounds. It's a point that the document is making. But at the center of that, comrades, is the issue of the unity and diversity of our country. So we should be able to be alive to that. There's a point that the document is also making, comrades, about the dangers of demagogy and populism. The ANC, comrades, is not a populist organization. And I think many of us are, in a way, falling into a trap of the forces, strategic opponents, who sometimes are making reference on things that are very on populist decisions or positions. And sometimes we fall into this trap. And we know some have been attacking our leadership, that the ANC has sold out, the ANC is not the ANC, or Mandela has sold out, or the ANC is no longer an organization that subscribes to the Freedom Charter. And that language is something that we also hear within our structures. So we should be able to, comrades, to be alive to that, because we have never been a populist organization. The ANC has always been a popular organization because of its ideas and its policies. Freedom Charter is one of them. And I think we're all galvanized at some point around the question of the Freedom Charter in the period of the 80s. Even when we're coming into government, there's a popular position, policy position, which is called Reconstruction and Development Program. The reason today we have this thing called RDP House emanates from the fact that the RDP was a very, very, very popular policy position in the ANC, and people will refer to the house as RDP, knowing that it's not the RDP and it's a policy position of the ANC, comrades. So we must continue, comrades, to engage on this question and conceptualize it so that we are able to be clear about the manner in which we are carrying out these ideas in this regard, so that we could protect ourselves, comrade, from these devious attraction and means that are attracting us in terms of the demagogy and populism. The vanguard and the role of the ANC, comrades. The ANC has to play that vanguard together with its alliance components so that it's able to improve the competency, the ability, the agility, and the management of the economy and the politics of the country. We must ensure that we enhance the integrity of our organization, we restore the integrity and the administrative governance of our people, comrades. Our relationship with the civil society, comrades, is something very profound and it's very important. And we can take cue, comrades, and lesson from how the ANC in the past struggled in the country for justice and freedom in this country, comrades. And you can refer to the period of the United Democratic Front in the country. And we are told that in the United Democratic Front, there were more than 600 or 800 formations that were there, youth formations that were galvanized, women, trade movements, clergy, and everybody rallied around the United Democratic Front. So it was more of a convergence, comrades. And I think it's something that the document is making to say, how do we ensure that we have a national platform in the country that is able to give us a basis of mobilization of society, both at the ground level, comrades, and at the regional and provincial level. So civil society outside of the political space are also important, comrades, in terms of encouraging our democracy and how they contribute to the improvement of the quality of life of the people. Part of the renewal, comrades, should be able to ensure that we reconnect with this sector because it's a very important sector, comrades. There can't be an ANC without the civil society sector in this regard. And the document makes a point about positioning of Gauteng. I think the chair spoke about that positioning of Gauteng in the geopolitical landscape of the country, but also being a vanguard of a widespread organizational change in South Africa, comrades. We must worry, comrades, as Gauteng, because the Gauteng must think for this country. If the leadership of the ANC in Johannesburg and in Gauteng and all our regions here is not worrying about the positioning of Gauteng, comrades, we must worry about the fact that we did not get sufficient numbers to secure outright victory in the 2019 elections. I mean, in legislature there, Comrade Kidibon, you have 37 seats. The ANC has 37 seats. The opposition combined has 36 seats. What is our understanding with this thing, comrades? And the fact that we are continuously losing the support on the ground, comrades. So the ANC, comrades, has to worry about that, but also prioritize the organizational unity. It is in Gauteng, comrades, where the organization must find a united front. It is in Gauteng, comrades, where the leadership has to be united, comrades. Whilst there are also progresses that we are making in a number of areas in Gauteng, the key question that we must raise around the organizational unity as we are in this conference, as we go to the 14th National Provincial Conference and the National Conference this year, is what is it that we are doing in terms of practical steps as the organization in Johannesburg to further the work of building the unity. Because without unity, comrades, we can sit here and speak all nice things, but if we don't prioritize this question of unity, and unity not because we have a particular preference, but unity of purpose, unity of advancing the national democratic revolution, unity of ensuring that we understand the pillar state is important to the people of this country, but we will not be able to ensure that we reclaim that pillar in the national democratic revolution of state and reclaim our local state because we are not united. The pillar of the economy, it's also an important pillar here. The fact that we're outside of the state or local government, local state, to what an extent are we able to address the question of the economy? So that is a very important question, comrades, that we're making. Comrade Nebsi wanted me to summarize, comrades, but it's very difficult for a base document of 65 to do that. Key question, comrades, around the question of democracy. What models of popular participation can we use to enhance our public participation? Structures are going through, or municipalities are busy with the processes of ward committees as we speak now. To what an extent are we understanding these ward committees? Because they're important institutions in our democracy, in our legislations, comrades. To what an extent are we able, comrades, to understand the community policing forums that we have in our communities and all the the people's organs of power in communities? Because these are sites of community struggles, comrades. This is where we must be able to ensure that we find expression as the African National Congress in working with and collaborating, comrades, these things. So that question is important, comrades, and also lessons that we've had. I mean, we've been running municipalities over time since the transitional local governments and also the inception of the developmental local government in 2000. Unfortunately, we lost some of the municipalities. But that experience, comrades, is important for the leadership that has been at the helm of our country, of the municipalities. And that leadership is the ANC leadership. And sitting here, we have a range of people who have made that contribution, who are still making that contribution, be it in the administration or in the political space, comrades. So those lessons for us are very important, comrades. And what does it mean, comrades, all this that I've already presented? Firstly, comrades, as we renew the ANC, we should strengthen what the chair is calling the ideological fortitude. Our ideological fortitude, comrades, and theoretical clarity. But it's important, comrades, the type of the voice at TK somewhere there. When we talk about ideological fortitude, I can hear that voice there, comrades. Secondly, comrades, the unity of the ANC, comrades, is informed by the pursuit of a program grounded in the revolutionary traditions. The third point that the document is making, that the ANC, comrades, is part of the global progressive forces for change, meaning that we are a disciplined force of the left. Amakomanis is sitting here will know that we are not afraid of positive and transformative developments that are taking place and that are continue to shape the change of the revolution in the world, comrades. So, and the challenges that are lying ahead of us, comrades. There's a point, comrades, in the document about the balance of forces, and the document of Gauteng is saying global environment. We need to understand this global environment, the decade that we are in, and of course led by the some of the developments that would have taken place in the world politics, geopolitical landscape, that have changed the balance of forces in the world. So when you go deeper in the strategy and tactics, you will understand that question, comrades. There's also an issue that suggests that all the challenges that we've been experiencing, I think, were impacted hugely on ideological and policy contestation, amongst others, amongst the progressive and left-wing movements on one hand, and the ascendance of the neoliberal capitalist forces on the other hand. And this is because of the collapse of the Berlin Wall in 1989. And we know, comrades, many have written about this, including the historians, neoliberal historians like Francis Fukuyama, who heralded the collapse of Soviet Union and the European socialist forces as the end of history or the end of ideology and the ultimate triumph of capitalism over socialism and communism. And 30 years after that collapse, comrades, we can see that there is now a rise of some of the forces, comrades, in this regard, forces of the left. We also are not spared in these developments that are taking place, comrades, around the global economic recession or global economic slowdown and the COVID-19 challenges that we're facing, comrades, and of course the financial crisis that was experienced in 2008, 2009. So one of the major issues that we must raise around the global environment is something that has to do with the the positioning of the African National Congress. And we must reflect, comrades, on these issues. I'm not going to spend a lot of time around this issue, but it's a very important part of our conversation, comrades, internationally, domestically, because some of the forces are forces that have helped us and are forces that have relations with us, but also as we come domestically inside of the, within the country. We must also be able to ensure that we stay on course in terms of advancing the principles of human solidarity. Yesterday, we were with the Palestine ambassador here, who was sharing the importance of the solidarity work with a number of institutions, comrades, and that. And the document also, comrades, makes a point about the fourth industrial revolution, which is an important and essential point of the development of the world today. Because the emergence of the fourth industrial revolution, comrades, is building at the backdrop of the digital revolution, characterized by issues of mobile, of internet, the artificial intelligence, and robotics, the machines that are learning. So what does this mean, comrades, in the bigger scheme of things, insofar as our economy is concerned? And the economy is very sophisticated. This economy that we are running now, it's a very sophisticated economy, comrades. And of course, there are a number of things, comrades, that are associated with that in terms of the commodities. So what do we anticipate as the African National Congress by these challenges that are brought by the technological changes and advances in this regard, comrades? And how do we ensure that we mitigate the risk? Because the workers are going to be at the receiving end. They are continue to be, they are in the receiving end as we speak, comrades. So what are the implications of living with machines that assist us almost doing everything, Doc? I know you like this item of fourth industrial revolution, and to an extent that going forward, it may be that our next request is going to come from the machines. You'll never know as human. So it's important, comrades, to understand this question, that the automation is going to be a central feature of the fourth industrial revolution. And this, in its nature, is going to expel the workers. So it's important for us to understand this phenomenon, comrades. I'm not going to talk about the rise of China. We all know what China is presented globally, comrades. But what is important, comrades, it's our relationship with China. Because if you look at how China is running their country, it is more similar to what we are doing here. They are running what is called, theirs is also National Democratic Revolution. And there are lessons that we can have that are common between ourselves and the Chinese National Democratic Revolution, comrades. And inside of China, comrades, you have what is called popular roots. You have what is called the centrality of land and agrarian. You have things that they use of the markets very creatively. They are using their state very creatively. They are using the centrality of their leadership to resolve the problems of China, comrades. And there are a lot of lessons that we can take out of China, including on the ground. Because if you join a party in China, it takes almost 2 years to be a member of the Communist Party in China. And there are certain things that you need to do before you become a member of the Communist Party there. And they are running a plus minus 90 million membership in China. And TINA is the African National Congress. We only have plus minus 1 million members. And it takes 6 months to join. In that 6 months, when you are joining you are joining the ANC, you are not doing basic things of going to a community early childhood development center to volunteer your time. You have just signed. You have not even taken the oath. You don't know what this organization that you are joining is. Tomorrow, when we see other tendencies and other behaviors, we get shocked because of the type of a person, a member that has joined the ANC, who has not gone through the ABCs of the organization. And we think, comrades, for us in this conference, it's something that we must pay a degree of attention. Gauteng has attempted to do a study, I think in 2011, 2012, around the sociology, and they called it the sociology of the membership of Gauteng, comrades. To what an extent do we understand our profile as the Johannesburg region on the type of the members that we have, who are BEC members, who are members of the ANC, so that we don't get surprised when the ANC is facing problems, comrades, of degeneration, of ill discipline that is becoming, something that is a problem in our organization, comrades. I'm not going to make a point about the global progressive forces of the left, comrades, except to say, comrades, I think there are lessons that we can also take out of some of the movements in Brazil. The Brazil is one of the important case study for us. Our left forces in Argentina, in Bolivia, and Venezuela, comrades, we know what they've been faced with insofar as the challenges that they are faced with, and there are lessons that can be drawn out of those experiences of these forces in that regard. And of course, there is a strong right-wing led program of counter-revolution that is emerging also in those institutions or those areas, comrades. Comrades, the issue of the political economy and the environmental challenge is something that I think the ANC is now lifting up. That has to get a lot of attention, comrades, more especially when we deal with the issues of climate change, comrades. It is a common knowledge that the industrial capitalist civilizations, comrades, have developed in such a way that it is becoming a threat to the ecological reproduction that makes life on this planet very possible, comrades. So the ANC should clarify itself on the ecological dimension and strike a balance between the need to improve the welfare of the people and not destroying the ecosystem that makes life possible. We must strive to build an economy and a society that is conscious of its ecological footprint, comrades. And there's a plan that government has adopted. I think that plan is called Integrated Resource Plan of 2019. That is making most of the intervention or proposing interventions that are going to help our government in terms of how it drives the issues of the energy and how do we participate in the just transition discussions that are now emerging globally. And I think the World Trade Economic Forum is something that is coming up, comrades. The document proposes a way forward, comrades. The document is proposing a way forward, comrades. A way forward, the way forward, comrades, emanates from the fact that there are things that are coming out of the January 8th statement. If you read the January 8th statement, there are key tasks of the structures of the African National Congress. So if we look at the tasks of the organization emanating out of that, comrades, at least the minimum of those issues that can be done there. So it means, as this conference, as the Johannesburg leadership, comrades, on the way forward, we must be able to pay attention to these tasks that are coming out. In my introduction, I made a number of them, 5 of them, what they mean to us, comrades. So let's go back and ensure that we prioritize those tasks. What the document is lifting on the task for Gauteng, as I indicated, is lifting up the socio-economic transformation agenda, comrades. And therefore, the ANC has to lead in a very effective way, comrades, together with all the stakeholders of our province, business, civil society stakeholders, for a far-reaching economic development intervention. And there are a number of things that are being said there. I mean, also making an assessment of what the province has resolved. There was a question of a state bank for Gauteng that was resolved. It's something that is very important. There are a number of issues around the economic special zones. There's now what is called the Gauteng Township Economic Act bill that has been adopted, comrades, which is a very, very, very profound bill because it's going to help us to resolve the problems that we're facing, comrades. There's a phenomenon, comrades, that is now coming up, this phenomenon that we need to resolve of the foreign nationals across the townships so that we avoid the attacks that we're experiencing. And we need to understand that phenomenon, comrades, and what does it mean to us so that the attacks that we continue to see do not create a state of chaos in our country, comrades. And I'm sure, comrades, the Gauteng is clear on its position on the economy, but also as Johannesburg, because we are the anchors of the Gauteng agenda, the economic agenda. So you can't talk about the Gauteng economy when you are not talking about Johannesburg in this regard, comrades. So the Conference of Joburg has to shape ideas on how do we best contribute to the question of the economy of this province of Gauteng, comrades. On issues of smart cities, for instance, or smart Gauteng is making a point about the innovation hub, that they want to change into a Silicon Valley. And I think Midrand is one of the areas identified, but also in Soweto at Nazareth precinct there. I think these are areas that were identified initially as part of being these Silicon Valleys of Africa, comrades. There's a lot of infrastructure that we have in our province that can help in this regard, comrades. So if we treat the question of economy and jobs with great attention, I think it's something that is going to help us, comrades. And of course, there are a number of policy areas on social transformation. Okay, on the economy, there's also an issue, comrades, that the municipalities we are no longer running, particularly Johannesburg municipality. At some point, this administration now, this coalition partnership that is there, is now implementing the decisions that we took as the leadership of the ANC. I mean, if you look at this trading policy, the informal trading policy, they are claiming as if it's something that is their own creation, and it's an innovation. And because these issues are issues that are talking to what the Gauteng Economic Development Bill is. So it's important that we also make that point about this. So on social transformation as well, there are a number of discussions that are coming out of that. Of more importance, comrades, is the way we are now organizing ourselves, particularly the question of young people, comrades, who continue to be in the receiving end or to experience the brunt of the challenges that we are facing, comrades. How do we ensure that the youth of this city of Joburg, which constitute the majority, its agenda is prioritized? And I think the leadership of the ANC has paid a lot of attention around this youth. The issues of youth development, comrades, cannot be reduced to a directorate or something. If we were to mainstream youth and elevate youth development in this province or region of Gauteng, it means that we need to think hard and think carefully, comrades, about how do we best ensure that we advance this issue. So part of the things that are going to be critical are that conversation around youth, how they are organized around businesses, the cooperatives and stuff. And of course, the work that the ANC has done on international relations, more especially on issues of paying attention to the immigration regime. And we can see there's a lot of movement around the home affairs, comrades. So I think, comrades, in conclusion, we must have an appreciation of the enormity of the challenges that we are facing insofar as the jobs and the economy. These are issues that are key to the economic security of our country. And the people, comrades, of this province are looking up to the ANC for solutions. Their ANC, comrades, is the ANC of Nelson Mandela. And their ANC is the ANC of Ndate Walter Sisulu. Their ANC is the ANC of Mamuri Tanzang. Their ANC is the ANC of Gertrude Shope, and many other heroes and heroines of the National Democratic Revolution. So it requires, comrades, of the ANC that is humble and steadfast. Humble in a way that we conduct ourselves, in a way that we honor these leaders of ours. We rebuild the trust because the ANC was once a trusted organization. Of course, we're aware of the mistakes that we've made in the process in terms of the policy perspectives and all of that, comrades. The proposal, comrades, on the questions of organizational renewal, we're going to share with them with the commissions. When you go to commissions, we are going to get other questions in relation to organizational renewal and building of the organization. How do we characterize the current and the political problems and challenges that we are facing, comrades? So, and of course, the balance of forces on the elections, the electoral performance, and all of that, comrades. So in a nutshell, comrades, that's what this base document is sparking us. In fact, it's asking us to make contribution, but also read this document with the policy document of the released national policy document, so that at least when we go to the policy conference, we are able to then take a position as Gauteng. After this conference, we must go to the ground and work as structures in the branches, comrades. Thank you very much, comrades.
Thank you very much. Okay, comrades, okay. Thank you very much, Kamela Siyabonga. Comrades, umkhabulo lo Makabane. Umkhabulo lona. The only challenge is that umkhabulo is competing with lunchtime. That my comrades sewalambile. Siyabonga kakhulu sicela simshayele izandla comrade Chris. Commissar, and then kuma commissions ke Makabane sizobe siyidissecta le document. Sayithatha ku commissions. Re tla ibua go di commissioning. Comrades, there is one of our journalists Wekhaya FM Upito. He was relaxing during break and taking a nap emotweni, and someone took his car keys. Is it sorted? Who's Tolil? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Who's Tolile Siyabonga Pito? Thank you, thank you, thank you. These are our important guests. This conference wouldn't be known by everyone who is not present here if they were not here. Delegates, we have been joined by one of our very important guests, the ambassador from Sahrawi Republic, Ambassador Mohammed Yeslem Besaid. Can you just wave, Ambassador? Amandla, Ambassador, Amandla. Away too. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Siyabonga. Comrades, we are going to have lunch. Should you take 1 hour lunch? Or less than an hour? Yeah, comrades, because of in number yethu, ritlonka 1 hour lunch. Okay. So immediately after an hour, so what time is it now? 14:35. Can we come back at 15:35? Ne? It's an hour. Please enjoy your lunch and thank you very much. Masbuya, we are going to have credentials presented by the Deputy Regional Coordinator. Thank you.